Hey guys, let's start with new chapter of lovestories Volume 2, Chapter 48, The Wedding. Palantita met her eyes through the mirror with a highly dull side. Her face that looked back at her was so beautiful that it was close to perfect. Her jet black hair was neatly tied back, showing off a small face with large clear yellowish brown eyes. Her long curved eyelashes that stood out. Her soft, smooth cheeks, full pointy natural lips coated with light pink lipstick that made her already sweet face look even more endearing. She wore a purple silk sarong with silver tinsel cut in a lady sarong style, having two ends stuck up in the front as an elegant pleat covered with a pale pink sash that her aunt had designed with exquisite embroidery. In addition, her aunt embroidered the strap on an embroidery frame herself. The beautiful waistband was covered with a pleated sash of the same color, making Lady Pin's bare shoulders look white and clear, pleasing to the eye. You know, Lady Pin, aside from embroidering a sash for Her Royal Highness, I have never embroidered it for anyone else. But now it's you. I therefore intended to do it. Even though Auntie had spoken in such a gentle and sweet sound, nevertheless, it could not make Lady Palantita feel any better at all. The final step is to wear accessories such as earrings, necklaces, bracelets, a set of rubies and diamonds from Princess Alissa. Palantita raised her face and looked arrogantly at her reflection in the mirror, again before stretching out a cold smile, feeling very sorry. Palantita kept asking herself again and again if she chooses to walk on another path Princess Anil has given her. If that's the case, then at this time, whether her happy life is happy or sad, nevertheless, at least there is still Princess Anil by her side. She was not driving her away out of sight as if she were an extremely disgusting person like the previous day. The day she bowed down and hugged Princess Anil's leg to beg her not to stay far away from her like a helpless person. From that day, Lady Palantita's heart shattered into small pieces, with no signs of being able to put itself back together. Yet Palantita could not accuse Princess Anil of being the cause of her severe suffering, because Lady Pen kept blaming herself for choosing the wrong path. If she could turn back time, she didn't wish to choose this way again. Do you think Princess Anil will come, Rick? Even though Palantita already knew the answer, she still couldn't help asking Princess Anil's close servant, wandering around when she had begun to dress before dawn. She definitely won't come because Princess Anil has been staying at Hua Hen since yesterday evening, my lady. Palantita sighed in relief, with no desire to offend Princess Anil by having to see her and Lord Quacket standing side by side on such an essential day as their previous engagement day. Another relief was that the Princess Anil didn't choose to stay in Chiang Mai with Chong Fa. Maybe it was because the beautiful Chong Fa had to stay and attend her wedding. After all, Princess Tararai was highly close to Princess Padmika. Why did Princess Alisa allow Princess Anil to go at such an important time? Princess Anil said that she didn't ask for permission from her mother, my lady. Prick swallowed her saliva in a big gulp, just to inform. Palantita let out a long sigh, for Prick's answer clearly explains the identity of Princess Anil. Did she go alone? Palantita asked Prick, nominally. Nevertheless, the answer hurt her heart badly. No, my lady. Prick scratched her lips like every time she said something important that she pretended she didn't want to say. She went with Kunon. Only two of them? Lady Pen's pretty eyebrows frowned in immediate displeasure. Yes, my lady, Prick said, shrinking her neck in fear of Lady Pelantita's gloomy eyes. Ha! Pelantita responded to Prick before accidentally biting her lips until it almost bruised. Forget it. Now Princess Anil just does what she wants. Doesn't care about me anymore. Prick kept quiet, even though she was arguing with Lady Pen in her mind. Wasn't it Lady Pen's side that decided to something without thinking of Princess Anil's heart first? But when Pick saw that Lady Pilantita's eyes were sad at this time, as if she was holding back tears that flowed back silently within her heart alone, she couldn't help but imagine feeling sorry for Lady Pen. Please smile, my lady. However, the auspicious time is near for the Khanmak procession. I can't smile, prick. Pilantita looked at the two diamond rings stacked on her left ring finger and let out a long sigh. Please don't force me to do this or that like others. I'm sincerely sorry, Lady Pen. Prick said softly before reaching out and touching Pilantita's elbow with a soft, caring touch. Nevertheless, Pilantita was so calm that she couldn't help but feel worried. When the auspicious time approached, the Khanmak procession of the Lord Kuakit began to leave from the front palace towards the Bua palace. Khanmak parade is preceded by Khanmak Iklid by Lord Kankan, Lord Kuakit's brother, holding a golden bowl containing 8 sets of betel nuts and many other processions. Next is the dowry tray, led by Lord Kuakit's mother, Lady Lamom, following with the relatives on the groom's side. As the center of the Khanmak procession was Lord Kuakit in full Raj pattern attire. He wore a white shirt with a high collar and a smoky grey chaun cabron matching Lady Pilantita's thigh dress. Lord Kuakit acted as if he were the happiest young man in the world. Behind Lord Kua were the groom's friends holding trays of pear of banana tree, a pear of sugarcane tree. The king, who was the chairman of the ceremony, was seated on a long chair together with Princess Alisa, the Grand Prince, and the Vice Prince. At the same time, Princess Padmika and Princess Dararai sat on a teak chair next to a long chair. As for Prince Korkubit, Lady Lamom, and Lord Kankun sat in another long chair on the other side. When the time was right, the king, who is the chairman of this ceremony, hung a garland and placed the twin auspicious blessed nuptial thread on the heads of Lord Quackit and Lady Pelantita in an attitude filled with kindness. By this time, Prick could only tilt her head to look for someone's arrival, looking very annoyed. Still, she hasn't seen even the shadow of that person. But while the king reached out and picked up a conch and was about to pour holy water for blessing the bride and groom, a voice came out that no one had expected before. Stop the marriage! I won't let you get married! The voice naturally attracted everyone's eyes, all focusing on the source of the voice. The owner of that bold sentence was a young woman who rushed to attend the event, even though she was not invited. She was a young woman, barely in her early 20s, with a face as beautiful as young girls. Her overall appearance was that of a minor, fragile person, but only her swollen belly, like a pregnant woman about to give birth. The young woman seemed to have difficulty moving around because her stomach was so big that she had to have one hand up to support her waist most of the time. Still, she proceeded to enter the reception hall of the Bua Palace without the slightest hesitation. Lord Quacket's eyes widened in utter shock. At this time, he looked towards his older brother, Lord Kankun, with full of hope, which seemed like the other side could quickly acknowledge. At this time, Lord Kankun hurriedly rushed towards the nameless, uninvited women. You have to leave now, Lord Kankun said sternly towards the women. There will be an important ceremony here, don't you know? The important ceremony is that my husband is getting married to someone else. The young woman started shouting through tears. How can I let him marry, sir? Lord Kankun heard this but was stunned and helpless until he listened to the sound of his younger brother shouting back. The young man had only recently returned to his consciousness. Savitri, you must not speak nonsense and slander me. You just made the mistake of being pregnant with someone else, but you accuse me of being the father of the child because you are satisfied with me and can't find a father for your child? After Lord Quacket's argumentative sentence, one who has nothing bad in Princess Padmika's eyes all along. It turns out to be the answer to the origin of the story. Princess Padmika could only raise her hand to hold her chest, feeling intense pain in her heart. Probably only Lord Quackett himself didn't know how much his own words tied himself to the role of the accused. As if he didn't do anything, just roll around in the mud. How would the mud splash on himself? Why did Kunkua speak so cruelly like this when I have every evidence that we have a deep relationship with each other? Otherwise, why would Kunkua agree to buy a house for me to live in and keep coming to see me every week? At this point, Lady Lamont began to breathe so fast and so hard that she had to call for the inhaler, while Prince Korkobeth was obviously angry. As per Princess Alisa's side, her condition was no different from that of Lady Lamont. She took out the inhaler from her bag and sniffed it, not knowing what else to do. While the Vice Prince's face was highly missed, the Grand Prince secretly had a smile tugging at the corners of his lips, like a winner. This behavior was similar to Lady Palantita, who at this time was like having a mountain lifted from her chest. She looked at the scene in front of her curiously, as if she were an outsider. You are lying, Savitri. Go back now. Don't make everything difficult because of you. Lord Quackett raised his voice with strength and was in a mood of extreme anger. Lord Kunkun, who did not know what to do, only pretended to pull Savitri's petite body as far away from the ceremony. Still, whatever the reason, the girl's stomach was so big that Lord Kunkun didn't dare to exert much effort, or because Savitri filled with the power of a woman's jealousy. In the end, Lord Kunkun was hardly able to do anything. Who is the one that is telling the lie? If Kunkua accuses me of lying, I am going to beat this evil kid to death in front of Kunkua's eyes. Is that a good idea or not? Savitri didn't just talk, but at this time she raised her hand high and pretended to slam her hand down onto her swollen stomach. That's when Lord Kuakat suddenly shouted in a lost voice, Savitri, are you crazy? That kid is our child. What is this all about, Kunkua? The king shouted in a voice that resounded loudly. What a shame, Lord Kua! The king angrily put down the conch containing holy water. With your words, you tied yourself to the point where you couldn't get away like this. Do you still have the courage to refuse to accept it and still come to accept the conch water from me? Please forgive me, Your Majesty. Please forgive me. Lord Quackett said as he moved to prostrate at the king's feet. But the king was too angry that he withdrew his foot and walked over and sat beside Princess Alissa, who was sniffing the inhaler because he was concerned about his wife. Seeing this, Savitri hurriedly took this opportunity to revile the man known as her husband with great resentment. Have you been deceiving me all this time? Savitri shed tears, feeling very sad. Who said you will register a marriage certificate with me soon? You said you have no one else. On the contrary, it all became a scam. Savitri began to sob, unable to hold it, and until Lady Pilantita started to feel remorse as if she were delighted with the matter that had happened in front of her. Then I had to drop out of university because my stomach started to get big. Savitri screamed in pain until she was incomprehensible. But Kunkua makes up for it by marrying a lady who's your good match like this. This time, Lord Quackett could not bear to remain silent. He hurriedly got up and grabbed the young woman who claimed to be his wife and went to talk outside the palace amidst the bewilderment of many guests from Kankua family, Kasidat family, Sautaret family, and other guests who are close friends. Prince Korkbit, the king spoke in a loud voice, heard throughout the reception hall. Prince Korkbit hurriedly walked on his knees and prostrated at the king's feet in a highly hurried gesture. Your son did such a shameful thing today. Please forgive me, Your Majesty. Prince Korkabit responded to the king's words tremblingly. His one graceful face was now completely devoid of the color of blood. I didn't raise my child well, so everything turned out like this. Don't apologize to me. The person to whom you must apologize is Princess Padmika and Lady Pen. However, this matter is severe. It doesn't mean that an apology will fix the situation. For the sake of humanity, Lord Kwakat has to marry a young girl who was pregnant with his child. Can you accept this from me? Your Majesty, and know that I will no longer allow Lord Kwakat to enter the gates of Saftaret Palace. Please take my word for it. Your Majesty. Prince Korkabit swallowed his saliva with difficulty. Nevertheless, he had no choice but to accept the king's words. At this time, Lady Lamom was unconscious, with her heart shaking in anticipation of the king's punishment. As this is, the king spoke in a voice filled with absolute authority. This marriage to be considered void. That's it for this chapter, guys, and I'll see you soon with chapter 49. Thank you.